Right, here I am, Andy XL, back with another NFXL podcast. This will be a preview of week 5 in the NFL. We head into week 5 with two teams remaining perfect for the season. Three, on the other hand, have yet to record any wins. And as we head into the first bye week for teams, the divisional title and wildcard races are now starting to take some sort of shape. For teams going into week 5 perfect, all 3-1 for that matter, they have the chance to further bolster their postseason hopes. Teams that are winless have probably seen those hopes disappear already, and teams with one win to their name badly need to win in week 5 to avoid their own flame of hope flickering weekly as a result of failing to win this week. And the teams with 500 records will want, or better, will want to get into positive territory. Well, 500 records will want to get into positive territory after this week's games. Now, in terms of how I'm doing myself, in terms of my predictions, I'm giving myself half a point for the Green Bay Packers. Dallas 40-40 tie last week. I don't think it's a bit harsh to expect anybody to predict that. And if they get half a win, I get half a win. So 11.5 out of 16 last week, putting me on 46.5 out of 64 for the season, or 72.6% correct. Now, there'll only be 12 games this week as we see buys kick in. So accuracy becomes more important now. Sorry, 14 games. Accuracy becomes more important now. So trying to get those right to get me up to 75%. Now, just two games in this preview. I'll look at the Thursday night game and the Sunday matinee, as it were, for you in the States, but afternoon over here from Wembley. And let's start with the Thursday night game. San Francisco 49ers at Los Angeles Rams. Quick sip of coffee. Right. In the ultra competitive NFC West, this is going to be a pivotal game in deciding who takes control of the division going forward. Both teams go into this one 3-1, as are the Seahawks in this division, with the Cardinals 2-2. So it's really tight in the division. But whoever wins this game is going to take control of the division. And I see these two teams as the most likely winners of this division. So the winner will take the divisional lead and get possession of the tiebreak as it stands over their principal rivals at this stage. Now, the LA Rams were good against the Colts last week, and the offense delivered big plays when they were most needed. And the defense and pass rush could cause this San Fran O-line plenty of issues in this one, which, was an issue for San Fran to worry about before anything else. The 49ers pass game has been by far their greatest strength in the ground game, but against this young Rams pass rush and now without Brock Purdy and all of their starting wide receivers, if you think about all of their receiver core. So they already were without Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle. Now they're without Ricky Purcell and Joanne Jennings for this one. So basically they're playing with the backups. So, that young Rams pass rush, as I said, it was going to cause them trouble anyway, but now they're taking on basically the backups. It doesn't look good for the 49ers. Now, the Rams have been really good on the ground, and that has been a definite weakness for the 49ers. Yeah, they've got Christian McCaffrey, but as I said in last week's, he's actually doing as well through the air or better than on the ground. So, if the 49ers are going to do anything in this game, they have to get that ground attack going. Um, so with the Rams pass rush and their stout defence likely to limit the 49ers on offense, plus Kyren Williams likely to have a good game here, allied to the undoubted abilities of Matt Stafford, Puka Nakua and Devontae Adams, I think the Rams will win this one fairly easy. I don't. If the 49ers overcome all those injuries on offense, it'll be an outstanding performance, truly outstanding. So you've got to go for the Rams here fairly easily at home, 27-16. Sorry, my throat doesn't like doing these early in the morning. So, well, early, 10:30, but 10:30 in the morning. I'm recording this UK time. So, right, to quote the Clash, let's go London Calling. Great record. For the Cleveland Browns, theoretically hosting the Minnesota Vikings. Now, this is for differing reasons. It has the look of a must-win game for both franchises. The Browns have to make the most of the Bengals and Ravens losing their star quarterbacks and win this game to mount an improbable divisional title challenge. The Vikings have to be able to beat teams like the Browns if they're to pose any threat to the Lions and the Packers for that matter in the NFC North, and also to avoid falling further back in the NFC wildcard race. Sorry. Right, more coffee. We'll get through this. Minnesota look likely once again to have they will have Carson Wentz at quarterback for this one, as JJ McCarthy continues his road to recovery. And he will be lining up behind a really depleted and banged up O-line. I mean, I was putting something up earlier, a report, and what have we got? Brian Neal suffered an MCL sprain last week. Christian Darrisaw's only been back a couple of weeks from injury himself. Ryan Kelly's going to be out as he's ongoing concussion issues with him, which is worrying on a bigger sense. Michael Jurgens would be the next man up to Kelly, but he's not perfectly healthy. Donovan Jackson is injured as well. So, I mean, they're even flying guys over from the practice squad to London for this game. So they're in big trouble on their own line. And that can't be good against this Cleveland and defensive line. So that's, they're sending out a banged up O-line, probably depleted, weakened, greatly weakened against the best defensive front in the league. And that could make life tough for Jordan Mason on the ground too. So both aspects of the Vikings offense may struggle here. The Vikings will need to find a way to give Wentz just enough time to get big plays to the likes of Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison to put points on the board here. But the Browns, right, let's have a look at it. The Browns are averaging just 14 points a game themselves so far this season. So it's hardly surprised they've made a change at quarterback and they've taken a chance on Dylan Gabriel. I think this is it's a risky move potentially, but it's a move they have to take a chance on because now, they came into the season probably with little expectation of having much chance in this division. But given what's gone on with Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow, how can I forget him? There's now a small window of opportunity, so they have to take a punt, basically. So they brought Dylan Gabriel on in order to try and bring that scoring average up. Their top score this season is just 17. So on that basis, 20 would be enough for the Vikings to win this one. But with all those O-line issues, can they get many is one of the questions here. Like I say, how rookie Dylan Gabriel does is going to be a key in this game. Their own defense, the Vikings, that is, was stellar against the Bengals in week 3, but has allowed north of 20 points in all other games. So I've got 4 questions really that I'm posing for this game that I think, are going to be decisive. Can the Vikings O-line in some way whatsoever protect Carson Wentz and Jordan Mason? Can Jefferson and Addison get some big plays? They're going to need at least a couple of big plays from those two guys to feature in this game, I think. Can Dylan Gabriel spark this passing game into life? And can Quinshon Judkins, the rookie running back, get in the end zone for the Browns? Now, if I look at those questions, question 1, I just can't see him being able against this Browns so destructive D-line who are going to be absolutely salivating at the prospect of this game. I can't see him protecting Wentz very well. I think he's going to be in trouble. Now, that said, Jefferson and Addison are good enough to get open against anybody. And if they can get big plays downfield, I think they will get 1 or 2 in this game, but they probably need 2 of them to result in touchdowns, I think, which is a big ask. I'm not sure Gabriel's going to be the man to spark this offense into life. The Cedric Tillman's out as well now for the Browns, so that won't help him. When they drafted him, the general's talk about Dylan Gabriel then was, he's going to be a solid backup in the NFL, but he won't be a long-term starter. So with that in mind, why is he suddenly going to be the man to spark this passing game into life? So I'm going for a negative answer to that. Can Quinshon Judkins get in the end zone? Possibly, but I'm not convinced. So, I still can't see this Browns offense doing much, but I think the defense is going to do plenty. So on balance, I think the Browns may just have just too much for the Vikings, given all that they're basically playing without an O-line in this one against one of the best defensive fronts in the league. So it'll be a low-scoring affair. The Browns will kick plenty of field goals. The Wembley crowd won't see much. They'll see some big plays from Jefferson and Addison, but they'll be a bit like Oasis in the desert. That's what I was trying to think of. So it's not going to be an exciting one, I don't think. Sorry, Wembley fans, but Cleveland will win this 19-17 is my prediction. So that's the first two games out the way. Fantasy wise, I would say if you're looking to play players in this game, Jefferson and Addison, yeah, I think you'll get some big plays out of them. Judkins will get plenty of work for the Browns. Um, for the Rams, you can basically pick almost anybody on offense, I think. Although the 49ers defense will stand pretty stout. Demarcus Robinson might be a speculative one for you to look at for the 49ers passing offense. No, he only came back for last week and did very little, but he had 7 touchdowns for the 49ers last season, so he may well have a prominent role in their injury decimated offense. Um, so And the other thing I'd say fantasy wise is obviously the Rams D and the Browns D. If you're looking for a D, you won't go far wrong playing either of them this week, I don't think. They're both going to have big weeks, I suspect. So that's it for part one. Part two, I'll come back when we look at 6 games in the early Sunday slot. And then part three will be the remainder of the games. So that's it for me for part one of this preview. And I'll see you soon.